Alright guys, the next video is on covalent compounds. These are the easiest out of all the naming because it's just very simple, straightforward. Something that I have not mentioned because I'm just assuming you guys know it, but let's just kind of review it. Remember, ionic compounds have charges. Well, one way we can identify an ionic compound versus a covalent compound is that an ionic compound will always start with a metal or a polyatomic ion. Covalent, on the other hand, are something like, let's try that again, make sure I have the pen on, is something like this, N2O5. Well, N2O5 is nitrogen and oxygen, which are both non-metals because they're on the right-hand side of the stair step on the periodic table. So if they're both non-metals, they're considered covalent compounds. Now, with covalent compounds, there's no charges. So instead of using charges to cross and swap, we just use prefixes to identify their names. They're sharing electrons, not transferring. So 1 is mono, 2 is di, 3 is tri, 4 is tetra, 5 is penta. And these should look fairly familiar from your math class or any other class where you see prefixes. 6 is hexa, 7 hepta, 8 octa, 9 nona, and 10 deca. So those are your prefixes. So what we do with this, you see nitrogen and oxygen, 2 nitrogens, 5 oxygens. We're going to name the first element using a prefix as long as it's greater than 1. Mono is only ever used for the second element. It's never used on the first one. Well, nitrogen is 2, so we use the prefix di. We do not change the ending of the first element. It's just di-nitrogen. Oxygen is 5, so we say penta, and I'm just putting it on the second line because I don't want to write it here and make this too messy. Penta, and then oxygen does get changed and it becomes oxide. This repeating vowel right here, A and O, is okay. It's not a big deal. But I have heard people call it pentoxide as well as pentaoxide. I prefer pentaoxide. It just depends on who you talk to. The IUPAC naming rules kind of vary depending on looking at that. Okay, so another one we can look at is CO. Well, carbon and oxygen. Notice they're both capital letters, which is how we can identify that, versus cobalt, which is C little o. Okay, well, C is carbon. There's one of them, but it's the first element, so we don't say monocarbon. We just say carbon. Okay, oxygen, there is one of, so we do use mono. We will always use a prefix for the second one. And then here, because the vowels are repeating, we will drop the second O. We'll just leave it as monoxide. Now, an exception to that rule is, let's say I have something like this. Let's do, I'm making up elements, or making up compounds, so this guy is probably not a real compound, but that's okay. It's good for naming processes. So S is sulfur, 2, so we're going to say disulfur. Okay, whoops. Sorry, my hand is not going as fast as my brain is right now. I is iodine, 3, so we say triiodide, and we will leave it as triiodide. It sounds better than triiodide, so that's just kind of one of the rules, is double I is okay. Now, working backwards, this is just as easy. Let's say I give you something like pentasulfur hexanitride. Okay, well, penta's 5, sulfur, so there we go, 5. Hexanitride is nitrogen, 6, so S5N6. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. That's about it for covalent. They are very easy, very straightforward. That's it. We'll see you on the next one for acids.